Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you guys are having a good day. We are back here once again, and today we are finally going to do something about these melon and pumpkin farms that I've had here for quite a while, and they've been pretty productive as all things go, but I think we can make them even more productive, and there are a couple of ways we can do that. For a start, as you come in here, you will see that there is only really two spots in which each of these melons or pumpkins can grow, one on that side and one on that side. The design we're going to take on today will actually give these melons and pumpkins two additional spaces in which to grow, which should, in theory, produce them a little bit faster because they have more options when they check for whether or not to grow a melon or a pumpkin. It's also going to rely less on propelling the melons and pumpkins into these water streams, and it's going to involve fewer melons and pumpkins getting caught on the edges of the blocks here. So we're going to go with a design that uses a hopper minecart to pick up a bunch of melons and pumpkins. We're going to push them downwards into the floor of the farm instead of sideways into a water stream like this. And it's going to be a really neat design, and I'm looking forward to building one of these because it's time we upgraded this. The main reason for that, of course, being that we have a ton of farmers to trade with now, or at least we have a few in here already, and I'm planning to get in a few more off camera, because right now the trading hall has, I think, 3 or 4 around the corner here. We've got one guy in this booth here, and we have 2 around this side, one there and one behind the trapdoor there. Yes, we're going to move a couple more farmers into this place, and we're going to have plenty of them to trade with, and we're going to trade melons and pumpkins to our heart's content and to a major profit. Looking at the emeralds we've got from the raid farm, which is only a stack and 10 for a single raid, I think it's actually going to be faster right now to trade with villagers to get a ton of emeralds. And of course, it is probably faster to build one of those exploitative farms that, you know, makes all of the raid waves appear at once and means that you end up fighting all of the pillagers for a whole raid at the same time. But really, I think trading with villagers is a much more peaceful way of doing it, a lot less technical, but a lot more fun at the same time, and it's really going to make use of this giant building that we have built here. So I'm going to spend my time off camera getting a few more farmers, and then when we come back from that, we're going to set up a melon and pumpkin farm somewhere on the hillside. I think probably up there near our other crop farms is going to be a good place for it, so it's producing anytime we're in the area of these villagers. But I think before that, it's probably time to get ourselves a few more farmers, to zombify a few more villagers, and see if we can get some good trading prices. So yeah, I think we've got a lot of villagers in there right now, so it's probably time to go and zombify a few more of these guys. I'll do that off camera, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Welcome back inside the trading hall. I have a little bit of hero of the village left from doing a raid off camera just for fun, just over at the raid farm. I put a bell over there, by the way, because some people suggested that for being able to see where the pillagers are, so that's kind of a neat thing. And I now have the farmers over here throwing me cookies and stuff like that, and pumpkin pie, which is kind of neat. But each of these guys, once they are fully unlocked, will have melon and pumpkin trades, I'm pretty sure. It seems like every farmer that I've unlocked thus far has had trades for those particular crops. And so, yeah, we should be able to get a huge amount of emeralds just out of these 6 once we get to the other end here and trade with this one. The unlock will have happened for this one and so forth, and we can just go down the line getting as many emeralds as we want to. On this opposite side here, I also have blast furnaces set up for the armorers, and these folks are now actually throwing me chainmail armor as well, which is kind of cool. I'm just putting it back into the furnace and converting it into nuggets because I have no use for it right now, and later on they will actually sell you chainmail armor as, you know, helmets and stuff come up in the trades further down the line, so I will probably get a few of those. They got some pretty good diamond armor trades. Again, a single emerald for unbreaking, 3 protection, 2 diamond chest plate, really not bad. Some of the others have protection 1 or 2 on them as well. No, this one has a couple of unbreaking pieces, which are very good, and yeah, once again, is just like chucking chainmail armor at me. Thanks, dude. I'm going to put that in there for now. These have had a little bit of trouble recognizing the workstations in front of them as their own, so I might need to do a little bit of reconfiguring over here just to make sure they can't see any of the other workstations. I think this guy might have been able to see this workstation, so we might have to put an extra fence here or something to make sure that he can't quite see onto the top of this workstation and get confused about which one is his. But I think now is time to start working on our brand new melon and pumpkin farms. So I'm going to grab some stuff from the redstone box, and I'll see you guys up in the mountains. Here we are, folks, up here high on a cliff overlooking the trading hall, and this is where we're going to start building up the farm for our renewed supply of melons and pumpkins. It's going to be a pretty decent build. It's going to be a little bit of technical stuff, but very, very light on components. There's going to be a little bit of more intensive stuff to craft, like pistons and observers, but basically all the stuff we're going to want is here in this chest. We want some building blocks, we want some grass blocks that we can turn into farmland. Obviously, you can use dirt, coarse dirt, podzol, anything like that. I'm pretty sure those can all be converted into farmland, anything except mycelium, really, and there's another good reason for that, which I'll get onto about pumpkin growth in a minute. But obviously we'll need some pumpkin seeds, some pumpkins as well that I brought with me. We'll need an unbreaking and mending diamond hoe, of course, except no imitations. No, just bring a hoe, whatever you've got. And I'm bringing some bone meal as well so we can grow the pumpkin stalks a little faster. For our collection mechanism, like I said, we're going to be using a hopper minecart. So we've got a couple of hoppers, some powered rails and regular rails. We've got some redstone torches and blocks and that kind of stuff in there for power. And for the mechanism of the farm, we're just going to be needing a bunch of pistons, as many as you can craft, really, a handful of observers, and some redstone dust. Let's start out by making a little platform here, mainly because I don't want to put all of the powered rail down here on top of gravel and stone and all of this kind of messy stuff. So I'm just going to build out a simple 5x5 platform to start off with. You might end up wanting to build the farm bigger than this just based on the design we're going with here, but 5x5 will do. And of course, the next thing to do is to weave the powered rail around this platform so that it will collect all of the drops that end up on blocks over the top of this. And of course, when you're done, it should look like this. Of course, you probably want to make sure the rails are powered, so I'm just going to take those out and replace those with redstone blocks to make sure that each row of powered rail has an adequate amount of redstone power. There we go. Okay, that's all powered up now, and any minecart that we set off from one side or the other is going to rebound on that block and return here. So that's where we're going to put the unloading station, which we will build up a little bit more advanced design of, but for the time being, we're just going to put a hopper there, and we're going to put a couple of blocks either side and just have a single minecart rail on top of there like that. That's going to make sure that the hopper minecart travels all the way around the outside of here and then unloads once it reaches that hopper. And of course, we can make a slightly more advanced unloading mechanism, make sure that it empties out its entire contents before it heads back around, but we will cover that a little bit later. For now, I'm going to take the minecart out of here because over the top of this, we're going to be building a grass platform. This is going to be where all of the pumpkins are going to grow. And this next bit is something we're going to have to be slightly careful about. We will need some stone slabs for this because in the middle, of course, we're going to want a water source. It would be nice to have some hydrated farmland in here to make sure that the pumpkins grow okay, and that is going to require us to waterlog a bottom half slab here, because if we do that like so, shift clicking on that to make sure that we dump the water source in the right place, that is going to mean the water does not flow through the bottom of that waterlogged slab and affect any of the powered rails here, because otherwise, if it flowed down there, it would just wash away. Next up, we're going to hop on top of this platform armed with a hoe. We're going to bring the pumpkin seeds, the bone meal, and the redstone components, because this is where we're going to start making the bulk of the farm. We're going to hoe out each of these corners here, and those are going to be where we'll be growing the pumpkins around the outside. You'll notice that, yeah, we're building this farm in a kind of checkerboard pattern, which I'll get to in a second, but let's grow a couple of these stalks, and we will leave the other ones ungrown for the moment so I can demonstrate what's going to happen with the farm here. So when a pumpkin grows, it has the opportunity to grow on any of the 4 adjacent blocks, provided that they are some sort of variant of dirt, with the exception of mycelium. So if you have grass, if you have coarse dirt, if you have regular dirt, if you have farmland, those are going to be optimal for growing pumpkins. If you have stone blocks around the outside or something like that, the pumpkins aren't going to want to grow. So make sure you have some kind of dirt variant, once again, with the exception of mycelium. In fact, hydrated farmland is actually best for the pumpkins to grow on, but then once the pumpkin block grows there, it's going to revert to dirt anyway. So there's really no point in having hydrated farmland here unless you want to be hoeing it constantly, which of course we don't want to do. This is meant to be an automatic farm. So over the top of these pumpkin stalks, we're going to be placing an observer facing upwards into the top of the pumpkin stalk like so. And that's going to be detecting, thanks to Java Edition mechanics. Unfortunately, this isn't possible in Bedrock Edition. Sorry, Bedrock players. But the Java Edition pumpkin stem actually delivers a block update when it gets attached to a pumpkin, when it grows a pumpkin. And that's detected by the observer, and that's what we've already used in the melon and pumpkin farms that we have down there. The difference here is that it can grow in one of any 4 directions, and those 4 directions are actually going to be monitored, I guess, by this observer and by pistons, which are going to push the pumpkins downwards in order to break them. Now, it's not going to push them through the blocks down here or anything like that. They are going to come to rest on the surface, but that's where the hopper minecart comes in, picking blocks up underneath through the grass blocks here. And the cool thing about this system is that it really doesn't require all that much redstone. If I hop up here, if I take this block out and I place 1 redstone dust in there on top of the observer, that is actually going to mean all 4 of the pistons can activate when the pumpkin stalk down here grows. Not only that, but we can actually set up a similar thing adjacent to it on the next pumpkin stalk over, and every time this pumpkin stalk grows, it's also going to activate this piston. So if you had a pumpkin that was going to grow in between these two that this stalk wouldn't connect to, it's still going to fire that piston, it's still going to break it, and the farm isn't going to jam up or anything. And just for a quick demonstration of why I haven't grown these pumpkin stalks underneath here, is so I can show you what happens when we bone meal this pumpkin stalk here. And you should notice all 4 of these pistons around the outside fire as soon as I update that pumpkin stalk. And oh, that one actually just grew a pumpkin. There you go. So you can see that in action. All 4 of the pistons around the outside fire, meaning that regardless of what this pumpkin stalk does, it's going to harvest a pumpkin that grows out from it, which is a pretty clever system, if you ask me. I'm not entirely sure where this farm design originated from, otherwise I would do my best to give them credit. I'm fairly certain this was a design that was pioneered by Cubfan135, but it was also one that I saw in a Stress Monster 101 video, so I'll give her a shout out. I'll put a link to her video in the description because that's where I saw it, and hopefully she will link back to anybody who she saw it from. But yeah, that's the origin of this farm for me at least, and hopefully we should just be able to build out a large patch of pumpkins here, just with observers facing down on top of all of them. And the only block that is wasted, really, is this one in the middle here, where we've got the water source. And of course, on top of that, we could maybe, carve a pumpkin, put a torch in it, and then just light this area up to make sure that we don't get any unnecessary mob spawns in the farm, although I'm pretty sure no block is going to be wasted here. And as you can see, we're already getting a couple of pumpkins through here. Of course, the only difference with melons is that they break into slices instead of dropping the entire fruit, but that's not a problem. We've been crafting them back into full melons over at the regular melon farm over there. We should be able to do something similar over here. So now, with a couple more pistons in place, this should be good to go, and we have all of our stalks there covered by pistons, like so. And now anytime any of those grows, it's going to push down a pumpkin, and the pumpkin can be collected by the hopper minecart. And so with the hopper minecart going under there, that's going to be collecting any pumpkins that are produced during the rest of the building process here, and we're going to expand this out a considerable amount. Obviously, this is a farm design that, requires maybe 6 blocks worth of height, and then you could start up another minecart track above that, and you could stack it up as high as you want. Of course, you could stack it horizontally as well. I mean, you could widen it out horizontally, modules, whatever you want. You can basically adapt this design however you would like. You just need these 2 components, this observer-based system pushing the pistons, pushing the pumpkins down onto the grass here, and the hopper minecart underneath picking it up. So I'm going to do a bit of expansion of this right now, and of course, we might as well do that in the form of a time lapse. Welcome back, folks. I hope you enjoyed the time lapse. Looking at the old pumpkin farm we have here, we have maybe, what's that, like 4 stalks per row. We have 4 rows on 2 sides, so that's maybe like 16 on each side, 32 total. I think we have more than that amount in here, judging by the way this looks from the side. I think we have at least 32 stalks in there, with about half the space, and this whole farm is just way more space efficient and actually probably reacts way faster than that. Not to mention the fact that there are twice as many places pumpkins can grow, and the output has been pretty strong so far. I built this over maybe the course of about half an hour. I just built up the rest of it from what we had already, and it's already got me a stack and a half of pumpkins, which, as you'll remember, is basically a stack and a half of emeralds to our farmers, so I think this is going to be a pretty lucrative opportunity for trading for the foreseeable future. And naturally, I'm going to be spending a fair amount of time over here in the trading hall, just making sure I can trade this away, and by the time I've traded a bunch of these away, we will probably have a bunch more pumpkins in the machine as well. Obviously, I do still need to figure out a decent supply of wheat and carrots and stuff that I can trade. I've got the carrot farm up there, of course, which I can trade some of the carrots from that with these villagers, but yeah, I think we are onto a winner here. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a very, very useful way of acquiring emeralds. And, of course, those are emeralds I can take over to my toolsmiths and, I don't know, say let's buy an Unbreaking 3 Protection 2 chest plate for a single emerald, or a bell for a single emerald, which normally costs like 36. That's actually a pretty good trade at this point. So, I think we're probably going to leave it there. I'm going to build up a melon farm another time, but the pumpkin farm alone is going to sustain our trading enterprise for a good while, and I hope you guys will enjoy building that in your own world as well. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on this episode if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.